Hey guys, today we're going to be learning how to calculate simple interest. Okay, and let's start with some vocabulary here. So simple interest is the amount owed to a lender, so someone who lets you borrow money, for allowing you to borrow the money. So that's how banks and credit card companies make money. They charge interest on whatever you borrow from them, so that as a fee for letting you borrow that money. Okay, so when we talk about interest, one word that you're going to need to be aware of is principal. And this is not the principal of the school. This is the original amount borrowed. So if I want to take out a loan for $5,000, the principal is $5,000. That does not include the interest, the money I have to pay for borrowing that money. Okay? Now the balance of a loan is the total amount owed. And that is simply the principal, the original amount, plus the interest, what you're paying for borrowing the money. Okay? So you when you want to borrow money, you have a principal amount that you need. They're going to charge you interest for lending you the money, and the balance due is both of those things, the money you borrowed plus the interest. Okay? Now the formula for simple interest is I equals PRT. Okay, that's our formula. And what all those letters stand for is I is interest, P is principal, so the original amount, and these are next to each other, variables next to each other are being multiplied. So principal times the rate, we calculate interest as a percent, so the rate is in a percent, times time. And the time should be given in years, not months or days, but in years. Okay, so if you are given months, make it a fraction of a year. So you would put however many months over 12, because there are 12 months in a year. So if it was 12 months, 12 over 12 would be 1 year. Okay, so if it's given in years, just put the number right in. If it's given in months, you need to put in the months over 12, so it's a fraction of a year. Okay, so let's look at some examples of how we use this. So for our first example, say that we have a principal we want to borrow of $230. And the bank tells us that they will give us an interest rate of 5%. And interest rates typically have to do with your credit rating. So if you've shown that you are good about repaying money that you borrow, you'll get a lower interest rate, so it will cost less for you to borrow money. But if you show that you're not responsible in repaying money, you'll get a higher interest rate. Okay, and the time for this loan is 1 year. And we are asked to find the interest, that how much we're going to pay to borrow the money, and the balance, the total that will be due in a year. Okay, so let's use our equation. Interest equals PRT. So interest, what we don't know, equals the principal, which we said was 230, times the rate. Now, just like all the other things we've done with percents, we're going to write this as a decimal. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left, so 0.05, times the time, and our time is 1 year. Remember, our time needs to be in years, so that's just times 1. Okay, When I put that in my calculator, I'm going to get 11.5. So that means that for this small loan, the interest will be $11.50. So the balance will just be the principal, $230, plus the interest, $11.5, and that would be $241.50. So because I did not have the money up front, I'm going to pay a little more to borrow. This small loan is pretty cheap. When you get to borrowing bigger amounts, that's when they start to make a lot of money off of you. Alright, so let's try another example. Say that my principal is $550 and my interest rate is 3.5%, and my time is 8 months. Okay, so we're going to find the interest first. I equals PRT. Remember, P is the principal, so 550. Rate is my interest rate written as a decimal, so move that decimal place 2 to the left. That would be 0.035, 2 places to the left. And then remember, time has to be in years, so 8/12ths of a year, because there are 12 months in a year. Okay, so when I go to put this in the calculator, I'm going to multiply it across the top by 50 times 0.035 times 8, and then I'm going to divide by 12 at the end, and I will get 12.83. So my interest is 12.83. My balance would be my principal, my original amount, plus my interest, 12.83, and that would be $562.83 when I add those together. Okay, now you try. If you're feeling good about this, make sure you pause the video and do it on your own. If you're still struggling, you can watch me walk through the answer the first time. So here our principal is $215. Our interest rate is 4.75%, and our time is 3 years. Okay, find the interest and the balance. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and found those two. Let's look at how we would do that. Remember, interest equals PRT. So interest is going to be our principal of $215 times our rate as a decimal. So 2 places to the left, so 0.0475. And our time in years was already given in years, so we just can do times 3. We multiply those, we're going to get 30.64. That's our interest. And then remember, our balance is the principal plus the interest. So when we add those together, we'll get $245.64. So $245.64. All right, let's try another one. So this is try on your own number 2. Your principal is $575. Your interest rate is 12%, and your time is 9 months. Okay, find the interest and the balance. Okay, don't forget to pause the video and try this on your own. All right, so we're coming back. Interest equals principal times rate. Remember, we're going to rate it as a decimal, so 0.12, times the time in years, so 9/12ths of a year, because there are 12 months in a year. Remember, when you multiply, do 575 times 0.12 times 9, and then divide at the end, divided by 12. You're going to get 51.75. So that's our interest. And then the balance is $575 plus the interest. $51.75. You get $626.75. So $626.75. All right, one more. Make sure you've got it. Principal is $1,050. The rate is 5.5%, and the time is 3 months. Pause the video, and now you're back checking your work. Remember, interest is PRT, so principal 1,050, rate 0.055. I moved that decimal 2 places to the left. Time needs to be in years, so this would be 3/12. Multiply, then divide by 12. You're going to get 14.44. That's our interest. Okay, and then our balance is the principal plus the interest. When we add those together, we're going to get $1,064.44. This is the balance. All right, so go ahead and get started on your practice. Let me know if you need any help.